Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Price, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is the third volume in a report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee and players Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Viz, Laura Hamstra as Eli Sharp, and Della Borovic as Morgan Rawls. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band has foiled an attempt to frame Voidstain. Eli and Morgan took off to hide the Chaos Space Marine's body as well as the head of House Voidstain, while Attikus and Valentyne destroyed falsified evidence before martial law was instituted. Will they be able to find answers and survive the upcoming hunt? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
You're fired. Message from Lillian Oliver to Fire Dispatcher. Name not recorded. So, Eli, you have arrived back. You've had some time to arrive at the Van Houten estate and unload the box.
Yeah, man.
Happily before the Triumph mandated guards show up to just kind of be out of the way. So you get a bit of time to get the house staff, Hugh Smuggling and so on to help you get the box.
Oh, yeah. It would be very much of like a show up, be like, Treseus, you to Hugh. It's like, we have a delivery, a special item for our event that we need to keep discreet unless the other houses come spying to get a heads up as to what's going on in the maze.
I mean, I was going to give it to you, but that at the end really that really sells it. It's the exclamation point. Okay, so a couple things happen with that. Treseus looks like shit. I don't know that you would notice, but he's just been up for 3 days.
Treseus, you look like shit.
And he says, yes, I'm very aware. The helmet is very shiny, and I can see my gaunt features. And then he looks at you and he says, the helmet that I wear to keep my head safe, of course.
What other helmet would you be talking about?
That one. Meanwhile,
you just deal with the box.
Yeah, he's lifting.
He's
as
trying
he says,
to just deal with the box.
He's already doing what you asked. He's too tired of this nonsense. Meanwhile, Hugh Smuggling misses that entire exchange because he is busy just like staring daggers at Treseus because you only know Treseus' name and not his. And he also looks like shit because he had to walk. He had to walk home.
Right.
From the Balansong estate. So they're both looking a little bit rough, but they get the box up and move it into the Van Houten estate. Sometime later, Attikus and Valentyne, you show up as well, having completed your investigation by dropship. Morgan, I'm curious if you would have sort of like snuck back with Lord Voidstain, or would you guys just have stayed hidden in the trees?
I think it depends on how long it's been. And I feel like the closer we get to the actual houses, the more dangerous it's going to be. And if it's almost sunrise soon anyway, I feel like it's useless to sneak back in because then we'd have to sneak him back out again. So I think we might be spending the evening until sunrise kind of in the woods and the sides of the areas. And anytime it feels like safe to radio back in, but I think she would be fine staying dark for most of this time.
So I think that it's probably when Valentyne and Attikus get back is when they would probably radio you or you would radio them because the sun is up. It's the day of the hunt.
And the only thing that she would say to Voidstain as it's getting closer and closer to the beginning of the day is, Lord Voidstain, how important is it to you to try to remain in this race?
Tom says not Voidstain. So he just kind of looks up at you and says, I'd sincerely hope to make this place a little bit better by working with the Duke Wickstrop, and at some point the king is going to retire or die, probably doing something stupid. And then the Duke is the only heir available, so he will be in power, and then maybe I could be too. And as much as part of me would like to redeem my family's legacy, it's more important to me that no one else falls into the clutches of, the darkness. And given that this planet seems to be a bit of a shit magnet for that sort of thing, I would want to make sure that it's well insulated so that future assholes wouldn't come around here and repeat the mistakes of the past. With all respect to your team, it doesn't really seem like Lord Van Houten is particularly interested in nuptials, so it would concern me that no one is going to try and win Sweet Duke Wickthrop's sweetheart. And if no one does, then there's a risk that, Kuros or Boberstein or Versailles could end up with it, and they will do terrible things to this planet after, and he kind of pauses and he's not sure whether to try his luck, and he says, after you presumably leave, which would be my assumption based on everything I've seen so far. Do you intend to stay and rule?
Lord Voidstain, my future ideas are not for you to know. I only asked you because this morning we have two choices. There was an attempt on your life, obviously, last night with your estate burning down. But if you miss this hunt, I can only assume you will be out of the running. So, according to what you say, you would rather go to the hunt than go into hiding. Is that what you are saying?
He nods, and then an idea occurs to him. And he says, yes, I think at this point I pretty well need to participate in the hunt, even if it costs me my life. But Voidstain looks up at you with a mix of hope and fear. And he says, there is, however, a different option, of course. If you and I combined our forces, then there would be one less suitor in the situation, because you were still technically vying for the throne, if you will recall. But maybe we could team up and present ourselves as a duo. And present to the Duke Wickstrop as some kind of throuple situation, which would mean you could help me with the hunt and keep me safe, and then maybe people wouldn't kill me, and then once we win the Duke's heart, you can leave to your adventures in the stars, and I will help him through his heartbreak of our situation breaking up, but then still be able to rule.
Honestly, it does not sound like a bad idea. I will have to speak with my associates.
Do you want to roll?
Turns out she's staggeringly generous in her description of ideas.
Do you, are you being honest about it? Like, you might go along with this, or is this a pure lie? Because it was a pure lie and a deception check. If you actually would consider this, then you don't need to roll.
Oh, I'm like considering I will help you right now, maybe, but the actual long term of this is not no.
All right, then give me deception.
Okay.
Well, I guess, but the plan is long term. He said,
yeah, no,
it wouldn't be a long term thing anyways. He was like, then you can fuck off.
He's basically saying, like,
but if
after
he's
we
saying
win.
throuple, that's not actually a thing.
Yeah.
That's not.
What his plan is basically that if the two of you can win Duke Wickstrop's heart together, you'd both get access to the Cloud Palace. You could leave afterwards and be like, goodbye forever. And then he would pick up the Duke's broken heart and rule with him. So he's not saying, like, you guys have to get married. He's just saying that you present as, like...
Technically, you would have to get married, but then you could just run away.
I'm just
See, there he's like, two is better than one, right?
I just want a solution to this day. I don't care about the long-term effects of any of this. It's just, what do I do with this man? We're in the trees right now. It's just...
Deception it is then, because... yeah, okay. So, I'm going to say difficulty of 3. I'm going to spend a story point.
Oh, wow. On this, huh?
And, I got him to
Fine,
spare.
I'll spare one too, so you can make another box.
Jesus.
I will.
Do I get a boost for my being a liar backstory?
Yes, you do.
There we go. That's what I got.
And I think that's it.
Okay, let's go. Let's see. 2 successes. Look at this face. I wouldn't lie to you.
No, I believe you. After all, we have both stared the horror of Nash in the face and lived to speak about it. We are bonded by events beyond the understanding. And he just keeps going.
Oh, yes,
man.
yes. We have such an understanding between both of us. And I'm like, Is Clarence? Hello?
What is it?
Is there any update from our friends and travelers? What is going
The
on?
box it's secure.
Fine, let me read it. Lord Van Houten. Come in.
Lord Van Houten here. Speak.
I need some sort of way to get to the hunt today. I assume that everything else is going as planned.
Yeah. I'm not sure where you are. There's a curfew going on that's being pretty heavily enforced now. So wherever you are, I hope you're safe.
I am. When does this curfew lift? During the day?
That's right.
Then I will be back in contact during the day.
Well then, sweet dreams, Captain, wherever you are.
Good night, my lord.
Good night.
Kayla may say good night too.
No.
Back at the estate, Valentyne and Attikus, you've returned back with your royal guard, who aren't going to like come into the house with you, but are going to like stand
They're
guard
on the property,
outside
yeah.
the house. Much to like Hugh Smiggleton's dismay, he's just like coming back out and to greet you and sees them and it just says, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, my lord. I didn't realize that the royal guard would have any presence. Did something happen?"
I think just like brusquely walking past, just
Fire at the Voidstain estate.
Oh dear, perhaps it was best I did walk home instead of going with you all. I'm not terribly good with fires unless it's stoking them in the hearth.
Excellent. Thank you for your service. And they just both go upstairs to the area.
And
that
just as you
is-
walk by, it's like, Hugh, it's all falling apart. Tries to smooth his hair back, but like it's just too greasy. You can't do anything with it.
The moment we're out of the bug zone, Valentyne would just be like, well, let's see if we found anything from that helmet. I have my own theories about what's coming up, and we'll give Teseus more jobs. Teseus! Open up a door, or I guess he would check it on Clarence. I'm assuming you're around. Would you?
Yeah,
if you
guys
heard
can
them
all-
come in, would you?
can all
come
be
Yeah,
up
down?
in the no bug zone.
Excellent. Our package is secured.
It is indeed. We've given instructions to hide it from the other houses that might be snooping around.
Excellent. We will need to come up with a plan for how to insert it into the area where it can be picked up during the hunt. I will leave your capable mind on that particular puzzle for now as we find out more information.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. And he's just
God.
going to turn and go into Teseus's room with the others. And be like, dear friend, what have you found out about this helmet?
So he also has a Charlie Day serial killer map up, and the helmet is upside down, and there's just wires coming out of it. Like it looks like a cascade of wires and plugs and things, and you can just see like half full cups of calf everywhere, just around. And Teseus says. Yes, Inquisitor, I've been working on this as hard as I can, I must say. And like you can see that admittedly very Imperium-friendly twist of a lip in disgust as he looks on and he says, I am of course aware of the fact that these perversions exist, and yet to see one in person has been, well, let's say it added some setbacks to my research. However, I have been able to pull a little bit of information from it. I'm not sure, of course, Inquisitor, how exactly you obtained this, but it is very badly damaged and seems to have been for some time, in addition to repeated any kind of like, you know, as they do in crime scene investigation, things like grabs a marker and is like pointing to the various points of damage. It says, the repeated hits to the helmet has already damaged machinery inside. My role was, shall we say, only one success, so it wasn't able to get a tremendous amount off of this, but we were able to pull some data from it. It is just very, very badly injured. That said, I suspect if we were to bring it back to our compatriots aboard the roguish tradester, they might be able to pull some more from it. It is one of the few times I have been disappointed to not be in the presence of our resident heretic. He may be able to do more of this than I have, but I do have some information for you.
Excellent. What do you have?
So he kind of like pulls over a screen on, I assume, a standard school VHS CRT rolling thing, and he takes a plug from the helmet, plugs it into a little like jury-rigged box, plugs that into the TV. He says, "So the helmet was able to recover a bit of recording. It seems that some sort of emergency protocol was activated, and we are able to recover a bit of the footage that it captured. In terms of the standard data you would expect to find in one of these helmets, I cannot find any or much access. I think in terms of the damage, unfortunately, like indicates inside the helmet, and you can see stuff like beaten up." He said, "This is all indicative of a crash. So this is not purely impact damage from the wall that I understand the helmet was being smashed against. A lot of this seems like, frankly, an orbital crash level of damage. But we were able to recover this, which seems to confirm that." And he hits play, and you see just, again, like very staticky kind of busted. I mean, 40K video is not great to begin with. Footage of just like a small craft on fire. So like panels, very like Star Trek being hit by things level of like panels exploding. And there are a few world eaters kind of working around. You do notice that they're in the full armor, helmets on, and are trying to, like recover systems. Of course, knowing what you know about world eaters, not really the technically minded chaps. So this kind of emergency, there's a lot of punching into, like basically how Attikus do it, punching into panels, ripping up cords and jamming them together in the hopes that it will somehow right this craft. Before sort of a flash of trees, similar to what you see in the forest around you, and then an impact and explosion. At one point, you see the camera kind of like the gloves are tangled in cables, so like the Marine rips his hand out of one of the gauntlets to try and do something a little bit more precise. But then a crash and an explosion. Just it says, in terms of the files we were able to pull from this, there is some repeated mention of something called the seed that it seems was being sought. It would seem that this was some kind of high priority target for these particular abominations, as the files make repeated reference to it without specifying exactly what it was. However, it according to these records, did exist somewhere on the planet. So it would seem that from my files and what you've told me of this planet, based on the chaos activities that has previously occurred here, there may have been something left over that perhaps these Marines wanted, and that is why they came here. But it is difficult to imagine that there are several Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, just running around. It may, however, explain why there is a Space Marine on the planet. If there's any wind of Chaos Space Marines operating here, I would not put it past the chapters to send a representative to keep an eye on things.
Yes, that makes a great deal of sense. All right, so to say as I'm going to need you to shift gears yet again. I apologize for how much this is taking out of you, but the Inquisition asks and the Inquisition demands. We have discovered that Voidstain is currently being framed, and there was an attempted assassination tonight that would have led to his eventual execution while also protecting the parties that were involved. I strongly suspect that Borovic was involved simply because Borovic was the one who called in the fire. There was no reason for Borovic to have anyone near the house. We've had suspicions from Forrest Pollard that Borovic was involved in the elimination of Lady Bolensong. At the same time, we have heard from her and other sources that Voidstain is questionable and received evidence ourselves, which eventually did pan out, but in a way that is tremendously suspect. I have the following information, and he would relay his fucking video, the photos of the room for a recreation there, the information on the arson, the information on this fucking guy that's already been found. And he's like, I just need a way to demonstrate using this evidence that Voidstain is in fact innocent. All the information right now, had it been presented to an Inquisitor, would just have him executed. If it was a thorough Inquisitor, they'd probably destroy the planet. But at the same time, they could dive deeper. The problem is right now, I don't have martial law on my side. I can't travel. I can't do any of these things because I'm not important, and Lord Van Houten has not been given those privileges either. I need a way to clear Voidstain's name and get the family to trust me. Right now, I have a very circumstantial case that in the end I think may just lead to the execution of Voidstain for political expediency, which I don't mind if it serves our overall purpose. If that gets Attikus, married to Duke Wixthrop. Great. I don't care about Voidstain personally. But I need proof. Can you look at this and find out whatever inconsistencies there are? Clearly, someone else is involved in this. The only person we know isn't is theoretically Voidstain, because none of this makes any sense, and he doesn't seem that smart.
So specifically...
So he's thinking specifically Borovic, but it's just, what the fuck is different about this? He's got a cash source. He's got this weird guard. How does that guard, where's the money from? The guard clearly didn't die, so the guard's out in the world. If we can track that guard and track the money, then we're fine. But the challenge is he has everything that he has found proves that this is not Voidstain. But that's only an opinion an Inquisitor would have. Anybody in this fucking planet who wants the problem to go away would just shoot Voidstain in the head and go, thumbs up, and then it's some fucking scumbag marries Wixthrop.
Okay, yeah. So you're not just asking him to look at the murder wall you found. It's like all of the evidence.
All of it. I just need proof that this is a conspiracy.
So he says, this will take some time, Inquisitor. I will endeavor to do my best. It occurs to me, though, that something you said rings rather true. We are lacking in political power here, as well as some degree of... there is not too much information that we have that we can necessarily broadcast out. That said, I have been rather curious about the lizard man letters as a thing here on this planet. It would seem to me that if you require a greater reach for some of your theories, or if you need to influence political opinion on a large scale, that might be a good way to do it. I know personally I have been bombarded by these letters since I arrived. They seem very strange, and based on the vitriol that this lizard man seems to have for whoever killed the Lady Balansong, you may have common cause there. Obviously, we need to figure out exactly how to clear his name, but it may be a way to subtly impact things if you can determine the identity of this person.
Excellent. I have a hunt to go to today, and I kind of need to sort of solve this by then.
I will keep working on this all day. No, make no mistake. He starts pouring all the caffeine into one cup.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm trying to say, and Attikus, Eli, please feel free to chime in. The problem is, I'm going to have to bring Voidstain to the hunt, which means if I don't know what's going on and I haven't solved anything, I can't present anything to Forrest Pollard, who's going to have questions, and the conspirators will be active and trying to destroy Voidstain, who we have now inadvertently become a shield for. I don't want to take a bullet for the little weasel. It's not my job. I would like to take a bullet for the Emperor one day, like a hero. That's my gift. I'm going to die tremendously in combat in the name of the Emperor, as every Inquisitor should.
Indeed.
This is why we get along. If I need to bring him to this, I need to reach Lizzo Lizardman now. What is the fastest way to reach Lizzo Lizardman?
I mean, they seem to, have eyes all over the place. I suppose as long as you do something interesting, Lizzo generally reports it.
I mean, you could just, step somewhere where we can't guarantee there aren't bugs and just shout out into the void, Lizardman, we want a meeting. We have information.
You
spicy information. Isn't that what they trade in?
You mentioned seeing a skull once, right?
Yeah, one of the Borovic skulls. Oh. I wonder if Lizardman doesn't know about that.
I mean, if you heard Lizardman through a Borovic skull, couldn't you then talk to Lizardman through a Borovic skull? Flip it, like.
Perhaps.
Well, maybe Borovic trusts Lizardman sources, is listening in because Lizardman gets good information.
Or perhaps Lizardman is using the Borovic network to track their own information. If we know Lizardman has been at these previous occurrences, these previous things, we could broadcast something publicly, but we don't know the response and it'd be playing our hand. However, we are all going to an event. Each hunter is allowed to have a second. Obviously, Lord Van Houten and I will need to travel together or that will be suspicious. At the same time, we have Voidstain. and we have Morgan.
Voidstain has no one now.
Yes, and they are two competitors who would theoretically be competing singularly. However, if we were to make them some sort of package deal, meaning that they would need to support each other in the hunt, it would allow us to put a bodyguard with Voidstain on an ongoing basis to protect our interests. It would also allow us to theoretically have a spy near him if we believe he is being cleared, but he seems guilty. We have someone that we trust who can watch him on behalf of the castle. It would allow us to hunt, and it would leave you free, Clarence, to go to this event, claim a skull, and forge a contact with Lizardman. Everyone will be watching the hunt. You can watch skulls.
All right, we'll need someone else to deliver this box.
Yes.
Marcellus.
He's trapped on the ship.
Shit.
I believe he's trapped on the ship.
Meanwhile, back on the ship, it's just like Father Marcellus literally sitting, arms crossed, kicking the door.
Hugh is, shall we say, emotionally vulnerable, but also a font of information about these things. To say, if you don't mind, we'll leave you to your work.
Oh, yes, of course, Inquisitor. I will work as quickly as I can. Also, I do feel badly for Monsieur Smuggling. He seems like he seems like a civilian version of what I would be doing, but I do think he is trustworthy from what I have seen.
Yes, and we do plan to take him with us at the end of this adventure, should he be so willing.
And like mixed emotions about that. Just like, okay, great, another asshole on this ship. Sorry, I'm very tired, Inquisitor.
To be clear, has he mistreated you in any way?
No, I just know the type.
Fatigue is not an excuse for insubordination, Tressayas.
Of course, very
At the
good,
same
sir.
time, incompetence is a void-worthy offense. Not from you, but just keep track of that on an ongoing basis as we add people to the ship.
And yet we have kept grimly Moody's this whole time? I'm sorry. I no more. He just like does a zip lip thing with one of his little servo arms, puts his hands up.
Find me a better pilot, Valentyne will say, and then circle downstairs to go talk to Hugh. Essentially, what he wants to know from Hugh, because we could definitely roleplay a very long scene with Hugh, but I'll try to save you a collection of British men in a row. Valentyne just wants to know.
I haven't read my resume.
As the other guy doing a lot of British. Basically, what he wants to know from Hugh are like, what are the terms of the hunt? Usually, these kind of effects have rules, and if he can find a fucking Airbud rule that lets him bring in a prize, then he doesn't have to like try to figure out some elaborate hide a box in a woods thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I killed him. Like,
Yeah.
I satisfied the condition of killing something on this planet.
So,
because basically in Valentyne's eye, this is such a big fucking prize that like a theatrical reveal can cover a lot of technically we cheated because we did kill a Marine and we can show them where. It's not our fucking house. Mm-hmm. Fuck the Ball and Song estate. He doesn't care about it. So if they decide that there was a Marine in there, we burn it down, and this is just the way we reveal that we killed a Chaos Space Marine. Imperial heroes, baby.
okay, I like that. So yeah, Hugh simply nods along with this. Again, I assume you're not telling me you have a Chaos Space Marine.
We're not telling him what we have in the box. We just want to know the rules because let's say we could find something tremendously valuable that had been hunted, that we could provide, that was outside of, let's say, the hunting grounds. Is there some way we could include it as a prize and be technically legal, not...
I mean, we've already
in the
seen
spirit.
them shipping in stuff from outside. That's been pretty out in the open.
Correct.
Yes, I mean, well, technically, that's one of those things that the society tends to turn a bit of an eye to. They just ignore the fact that sometimes, yes, the hunting reserve needs additional things. Now, it is important, unfortunately, and there's some useful context for this, of course, is that the king cares very deeply about the hunt, and thus is a little more, shall we say, vigilant about those particular rules. That said, the king also never wants to look bad in the hunt, and as a result, it would not be the first time that a rather large trophy has been snuck in. There have been rumors for some time in the Lizardman papers, the Lizardman letters, rather, I should say, about game that has perhaps been wounded outside of the reserve being released into the reserve just in time for the king to hunt it and come off looking rather excellent. So This would not be the first time this has happened, and it is certainly doable. However, it is a known ploy. So this is one of those unspoken rules that is several people have skirted over the years. I'm sure some people will try and skirt this year. Some of the lesser houses absolutely do not have what it takes to hunt. They are too busy working for a living, which we all know far too much about. So they may well try and sneak some animals in, or have pre-killed animals. But
so what you're saying is, as long as we don't make it publicly obvious we're doing this, and just at least put on a show of like we're sneaking this in.
Correct, sir.
It would be allowed.
As long as due tact is taken in the smuggling. And to be clear, the smuggling must still occur, but it is not a disqualifiable offense by any stretch. It would rather be embarrassing and would probably rub both the king and, frankly, the duke the wrong way. But it is possible. And to your point, sir, with them moving animals in to try and quickly populate the space, you do have some other ways, perhaps, of bringing something in if you're able to make use of their delivery services that are already in play.
Excellent. Who operates the delivery service? Because none of us are by trade smugglers.
He jots down the name of a business for you. It's called EcoGame. And it operates out of the same place that in town that Morgan and Eli visited to get the ships. So he says there is great care taken to the breeding stock of the various game animals in the woods, and there are wardens and all manner of things there. So that's one approach. If you want to introduce an animal that you wanted to actually hunt, you could speak to the wardens, and they would be able to assist you with that. Perhaps at a price. They are very proud, but they are also underpaid. In terms of the group that brings them in, EcoGame keeps a deep genetic roster of the creatures that are most favored to ensure that they are never hunted to extinction, as we understand they have been on some other worlds. Thus, they always have a rotating stock of animals available. Also, in case any newly rich or oldly rich people want to hunt out of season, it's very easy to just suddenly find exactly what they want. A lot of the nobility are not aware that this is happening. They think every time they go out, there is usually the animal they wanted just nearby. But it is an open secret amongst the servants. So you could go and speak to Priscilla Wilson. She operates EcoGame. They have, as I understand it, been extraordinarily busy, given that they were meant to have several weeks to populate the forest and are now working overtime to do it. Now that the sun is up, they will not be flying any more dropships in, as that would be quite untoward. But if they have a way in at night, I guarantee you they have a way in during the day.
So our options are, to be clear, EcoGame or the Wardens, which are a separate organization?
Oh, just the Wardens of the Hunting Preserve. The King's grounds are, he does enjoy a good hunt, and he employs several Wardens to ensure that the natural predators don't kill the more interesting prey and vice versa. He likes to pretend that he is a man who can go hunting in the wilderness, but he is basically just hunting in his backyard. So he has several people ensuring his safety and the safety of those he values out there. So there are game wardens you could speak to, but they are loyal to the king. They are underpaid. Or there's EcoGame, who is responsible for last-minute substitutions.
Excellent. So Priscilla Wilson is EcoGame. Do you have the name of a particular warden we could reach out to?
Yes. The head warden currently is Atrinius Comedes III. He is the third generation of Comedes' family to run the king's wardens.
Excellent. Thank you, Hugh. This is very good information for us to have put together. I appreciate your thoughtfulness and your crisp responses.
Of course, sir. Happy to be of service.
Speaking of being of service, Smiggleton, you know an awful lot about the smuggling of animals pre-killed and otherwise to these hunts. In your career, have you done this?
No, sir. I was merely preparing myself to one day clerk for one of the lower families. As you will recall, when you arrived, I was still seeking employment and was hoping to work my way up. And one does not simply walk into a major house and request this. I was planning on working with some of the lesser houses, and it is well known amongst the clerking circles that one must be prepared and ready for such things. So, if you would believe it, they actually teach us where to look for these sorts of things to ensure that the houses are never besmirched themselves. They simply say, "Oh, I surely wish that I had such a creature to hunt," and, well, it's up to us clerks to do the rest. Similar to how we found your ship, we are aware of all manner of slightly untoward things that help make the society work.
I see. They speak it and then you see it done.
Correct, sir. It would be improper for them to ask for such things, but if such things happened as a result of a separate request, well, that can't be traced directly to them. Plus, then we are liable in case anything is discovered, and that is often how clerks end up in jail.
I see. Well, we wouldn't want that now then, would we?
As you wish, sir. Careful not to contradict you on either front.
Thank you, Smuggling. I believe that's all.
Very good, sir. Have a wonderful summer.
We'll go back upstairs to have our conversation. All right, so it seems like we have two fronts that we can move forward on, and we also need to inform Morgan that she is now going to be partnering with dear Sacateur Voidstain, unless we've got Eco Game and the Wardens, unless you had any other ideas, Clarence. I've heard you thinking on this.
The only thing I'm thinking of is, these are old palace grounds. There has to be tunnels, hidey holes, places for royals to escape, or at least escape from sight from the surface. We know they've built underground. is there just some sort of friggin' hatch we can put the body in and just sneak it into that Lord Attikus could find?
Is Attikus aware of Vankari Kuros's participation in this, or is he out still with the injury of being shot in the back?
That's a good question.
Because he owes me a favor, and depending on his participation,
he would be. I think if
okay.
Crouching in the woods, having watched his mansion burn to the ground and being accused of heresy, Sacateur Voidstain is like, I will ride into battle. I can only imagine Vankari Kuros is not gonna skip
because I know
this.
he also doesn't care, but yeah.
But he likes the pageantry of it. So I think if you did ask Smuggling, he'd give you kind of like a yes, as I understand it, sir. They are preparing a palanquin for him to ride in. It's going to be quite a show, as I understand it. But yes, he will be participating.
Okay, with that info, back upstairs away from Smuggling, Attikus will say,
for ostensibly saving his life, Vankari Kuros, I got him to promise me that he owes me a favor. What if we put it to him and his people to find us a, as you say, hardy hole tunnel, something like that? I mean, he's lived here. He's involved in design, right?
The only question that I would have is, do you think there is a way, with the leverage that you have, to prevent him from opening the box and then, shall we say, celebrating a glory of his own that we are no longer a part of?
No, sir. He's a sneak. I would say I couldn't trust him further than I could throw him, but he's small, and I don't trust him at all.
I do think if you wanted to try and get a map of the grounds, that would probably be something he could procure.
Okay.
Maybe a layout or map. Something where he's not as involved in our scheme. He just knows that we want to know where things are and how the place works.
Okay, let's do that now, because you can do that from a distance. And if we can collect this map, then we will know if there is a way for us to play this solo. If there is not, we move on to engage with these other possibilities.
All right, I'll ask for a map of the place as it is now and as it was. That should give us a comprehensive understanding of where these nooks and crannies are, eh?
Indeed.
Right.
Excellent.
I'll make the call.
Great. So it rings through. You get like a 4 servants worth of conversation. And then finally, with the sounds of like drilling and sawing and hammering in the background, Kyros gets on the Vox channel and says, "Well, if it isn't my erstwhile savior, Lord Van Houten, to what do I owe the pleasure?
Kyros.
Calling to check up on me, are you?"
Yeah, that's what he is. What in the bloody hell's going on over there?
Oh, that, yeah. Getting shot in the back isn't a great look for this competition. And I gotta tell you, it really fucked up my ink. Like when you get a tattoo of your own face and then someone shoots you in the back and it blows out your forehead, it looks terrible. So I'm putting on a bit of a show at the hunt. I think you're going to be very impressed.
Oh, very
and
nice.
you're really going to have to bring it because this is going to be pretty fucking fun and pretty fucking cool. So don't worry about the noises. You'll see soon enough. It will be glorious. And I promise you can have a ride later if you're nice to me.
Well, that sounds lovely. Listen, I'm calling about the favor.
Oh, shit.
I need maps. 2 of them to be specific.
Okay, I'll hang on. Hey, can you bring me that napkin?
Oi,
bring me
oi,
that pen.
listen
No, I
here.
got maps for you. Hang on, I'll draw them right now. What do you want?
Listen to me,
You want
you
a map of
shit.
the
You know
Imperium?
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I want 2 maps of the palace hunting grounds as they are now, where we're going to be doing this hunt, and one of as it was before it was moved to, Cloud City or whatever.
Oh yeah. So, wow, your clerk has not briefed you well. The grounds are terrestrial. You don't need to worry about going to fucking Cloud Town. So good news there. But you did call the right asshole because my family has been slowly adjusting that ecosystem for some time. It used to be really overgrown, and I gotta tell you, not fun to go hunting when you have to like deal with the nature shit. So yeah, I can give you a map of our latest landscaping. It's interesting. Well, how much is information worth to you there, Lord Van Houten?
About the weight of your life, if you remember that this is a favor.
I'm giving you a map. I have other things that might be of interest to you, but you're being kind of mean, so...
I thought you liked me, mean Kyros.
Fuck, you caught me. All right. My servers were attacked recently, and when I asked who was trying to pry into my precious files, we couldn't determine who was doing it, but we did determine that they were after the exact same thing you're asking about. So tell me, did you have an advanced squad trying to just like rattle my locks here, or is there someone else I need to be worried about?
No, that sounds like the work of someone else.
Ah, great. Love that. And you hear him wince at the bullet wound. He says, okay, well, since you asked so meanly, and I do like that, I'm going to send you your map, along with the knowledge that someone else wants them. So continue to watch your back, because neither of us really watched mine, although I do appreciate you saving it. Also, the image of you naked fleeing into the trees will be one I savor until the next bullet catches me. Hopefully not while we're hunting. So anyway, best of luck, and I look forward to seeing you at the party funeral afterwards, if I don't see you in the woods.
We'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. Attikus figured it's important for this kind of person to get the last word, so Attikus was like, okay. This worked out, and I don't need
Kyros
any other
back there
shit.
is like, got the final word.
Fucking
Nailed
got
it.
him.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll bring that information to the group.
The map of the grounds is being sent. However, Kyros did mention that his servers were being attacked or invaded for the exact same information. Might be that the map we get has been tampered because he may not have believed me when I said it wasn't us.
All right.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features the voices of players Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, Laura Hamstra, and Del Borovic. alongside Game Master Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christopher Little, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Flynn1138, Alarain Okapi, Schrodinger's Pepper, Guy Edwards, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Garbo Ape, Locke, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dagger Rain, Rob L, Dia De Los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy Funky Head, Nomad, the Wise Paladin of the Badlands, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Shulzari, Gus Schreider, The Long Family, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.